Hey, you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost. Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2021. The album, Dad, AF, Rock On, Gold Dust Woman. Boost! How are you guys doing today? Happy Saturday. Let me tell you a little realization, come to Jesus moment that I just had here in the last hour. I was driving around and I did my vlog for today, and then I did a video for my Peter Does Stuff channel. I was talking about being in early sobriety and Saturdays in early sobriety and things like that. And then I did a review of the cheesy potatoes are back at Taco Bell. They came back about a month ago, and I hadn't reviewed them yet. So I reviewed the spicy potato soft taco and the fiesta, or the cheesy fiesta potatoes over at Taco Bell, and I had a great time. And I was talking to friends of mine on the phone. It was their anniversary today, and they were on their way to go out to dinner, and I was like in such a great mood. And I came home, and I was sitting down, and I knew that I wanted to do this response video to what has happened since James Charles put out the statement 24 hours ago. And I was kind of like over here doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that, putting on some lip gloss, you know how it is. And I was like, I'm not in the mood to make this video. And I think it's an important video to make. I think that this discussion is important to be having. And I've said that in these videos. But I've also said in my other videos that these are not the kinds and types of drama videos that I enjoy making, you know? They're very heavy on the heart, very, very heavy on the heart. And reading the responses from people, and which I appreciate all of your responses, I thought that the majority of the comments that were left on my video yesterday, that I posted very, very late, I felt that they were well put together. I felt that they were fair and informative. So, but reading through all of that and reading the responses from people online today about what they think about the statement, and it's just all over the internet right now. It's all over social media. It's just really, really, it's like a heavy, heavy topic. It's heavy on my heart. And so I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to continue to talk about this stuff. I'm going to continue to make videos about it because I think it's important, like I said, to have discussions of these things. But starting next week, I am also going to be going back to doing lighthearted drama. And I do not care. Listen, okay? If I have to do reviews of the 1,000 Pound Sisters, hey, Amy and Tammy Slayton, how are you doing? I'm going to do them over in this video, okay? On this channel. But I miss doing some of the lighthearted drama. It's just, that's what I signed up for over here. And, I'm trying to do the videos that I think people want to talk about or that are relevant or things that are going on. But at the same time, like I said, it's heavy on my heart. So if that means that I have to do 2 videos in a day, and one video be me talking about the heavy-hearted stuff, and then the next video, me being flipping fans, talking to Jane on the drama phone and all that. So be it. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll have to film 2 videos a day, I guess, going forward, But I miss all of that. I miss that lighthearted drama. And this is just just reading it day after day, just after day, is just, it's a lot, and I'm sure it's a lot for you, and it's a lot for me as well. So I wanted to talk about kind of the aftermath. I'm telling you that now so that next week when you guys are like, why is Peter posting 2 videos? Or why is he doing this video and then a very lighthearted video talking about, I don't know, whatever, is that I'll find something to talk about out there, That's what I'm going to be doing. So, depending on what you like, you can watch both of them, which I would love. You can watch the funny one, you can watch the serious one, whatever you want to come over here for, please do that. And it's one of the reasons why I have 6 channels, because then I can kind of do other stuff, and my mind isn't just so focused on one thing. I think in society, sometimes, and even myself, this has happened to me, where we become, this happens to me a lot with true crime. I have a true crime book club, okay? But where I become very fixated on a story. This just happened recently in February when we read Hell in the Heartland. And you become very fixated on a story, and and this happened with the Delphi murders. It just happened in Indiana a couple years ago. I have become very fixated on reading the stories and reading the articles and watching this and watching that documentary and watching this, all of these different people, do these videos about the situation. And it's after a while, it's really weighs heavy on you, the topic that you're talking about. So I often have to take a step away from true crime. Like, I couldn't just read extensively true crime, like that be the only books that I read. I have to read other stuff that's, that's why I read my cozy mysteries, because I have to have my fluff in between, So that will be starting on Monday on this channel. Okay, I wanted to do kind of a follow-up of what has happened in, let's say, the 12 hours, well, now it's been about 16 hours since James Charles and Morphe posted their statements last night. So just to give you a refresher course, if you did not watch my last video, James Charles and Morphe both came out with statements last night. Here, I will read them to you. James Charles' statement goes as such: accountability is something that I have spoken about a number of times in the past. In my most recent video, I spoke about and took accountability for my part in conversations I had with a few individuals who told me they were over the age of 18. As I said in that video, I can't show change overnight, but will over time. Since posting that video, many other people have come forward with a series of misleading stories and false allegations, which have been reported on by many people, creators, and news outlets. My legal team has begun taking action against those that have spread misinformation and or created completely fake stories, as this has gone too far. These stories have caused many of my long-term partners to receive considerable negative feedback, one of them being Morphe. I've loved every moment working together and am beyond grateful for what we've created together. That being said, I reached out to them and we mutually agreed to wind down our James Charles and Morphe collaboration, which is my only project with them. I am continuing to take time away to learn, grow, and listen, and look forward to coming back one day in the future as a better version of myself. And I said this yesterday, and I'm going to say it again. One of the reasons why I made the video last night when I did, and I want to go in here really quick and look at his Instagram, which means I have to get out of the Morphe thing, but oh well. One of the reasons why I made the video last night, I'm sure as many other people did as well, is because a lot of people do not have Twitter, right? Well, James Charles didn't post it on his community tab on YouTube. He didn't post it on his Instagram. I'm looking right now. He only posted it on his Twitter. So many people, many creators don't have Twitter. So if you don't have Twitter, you wouldn't have known that James Charles had come out and made the statement. Morphe then also came out and they made a statement. They both posted their videos at the statements at the exact same time. Morphe came out and they said, hold on just a second, please. Their statement said, in light of recent allegations against James Charles, Morphe and James have agreed to end our business relationship and wind down sales of the Morphe and James Charles product offering. It is and has always been Morphe's goal to create a positive, safe, and empowering space where all beauty lovers can freely share their artistry and passion for cosmetics, and Morphe is committed to furthering that goal. There was a lot of speculation on the way that they worded it, that James Charles wanted it known that he was the one that went to Morphe to say, hey, let's just cease business right now. I find that interesting, that James would go to somebody that hasn't said yet, because Morphe was standing their ground. They hadn't come out and said anything. And when you went to their Instagram or their Twitter, they were just flooded with comments of people saying, are you really going to stand behind James? Basically, right? So it's interesting to me that James was the one that went to Morphe instead of Morphe coming to him and saying, hey, we have to do something. But apparently that's the case. I don't know. The other thing that was interesting to me about this statement was that James goes in here and says, these stories, and this is the second paragraph of his statement, he is referring to the stories where he says, since posting that video, many other people have come forward with series of misleading stories and false allegations which have been reported on. And then he goes on to say that these stories have caused many of my long-term partners to receive considerable negative feedback, one of them being Morphe. What people are speculating is that James is under the assumption, and maybe this is true, I don't know, that Morphe and other brand partnerships that he has had that we are unaware of have walked away from James at this point because they haven't come out and made public statements, that they are walking away because of the alleged falsified statements or stories that are being put out there, not the stories or the allegations that James Charles has taken responsibility for and taken accountability per his video. So that was, people are interested in that as well, that James is under the belief that Morphe is like stepping away, or he's stepping away from Morphe, or they decided to step away together, or whatever it may be, because of the alleged fake stories, not the ones that he took accountability for. So yeah, the whole thing is very, very interesting to me. Okay, so that's what's happened in the last, let's say, 15 hours or whatever. Everybody in the world has had statements about this. I pulled a couple that I saw online that I thought were interesting. Let me get to these. Hold on. One was T-Spill. She was the first one. T-Spill posted, and she said, where is my statement? Oh, my receipts, Whitney. Whatever you want. I have a lot of birthday shout-outs I'll be doing on Monday as well. Okay. Where is it at? Okay, T-Spill said, is James saying fake stories have made Morphe step down from working with him and not the very real story that he admitted to on camera? And I think it's a valid point. Like, is that what he is saying in this statement? That Morphe is stepping away because of what he is saying are fake stories? Or are they stepping away based on the actual statements that he took accountability for per his YouTube video, per his statement on Twitter? That's the question that they're asking, or that she's asking. And I think a lot of people are asking. And if you go underneath here, it's interesting that the amount of people that are defending James Charles underneath the statement. Then Jen Love's reviews came out, and people, yesterday in my video, they said, you came out and you said your opinion, but what do you really think? Jen Love's Reviews, who does not follow James Charles, incidentally, she put this statement up, and this statement, I think, is a very, very fair statement, and I would have to say it's probably almost spot on how I feel about the situation as of today. Jen said, and I will link Jen's Twitter below and her YouTube channel, and you can go check it out. She said, I get that James Charles may feel frustrated that lies may have been told and that he's losing contracts. I get that. I get that he may want to clear his name on some allegations that he feels are false. This is not the time. This is the time to own up to your SHI toot. That's it. The fact is that if he wasn't having inappropriate interactions, the ones that he admitted to, none of this would be happening. It hurts to take responsibility. It feels less painful to blame someone else or to say publicly it isn't as bad as it looks. However, as the saying goes, you make your bed, now you have to sleep in it. Maybe some people are lying, but that doesn't change the ones that are true. Even if it's painful, you have to internalize when you screw up, especially when it hurts other people, so that you don't do it again. It isn't about the lies right now, it's about the truth. Growth is painful. It sucks. I get it, but it's important. I hope you grow, James Charles. I really do. And I feel exactly the same way as that statement. I really, really do. And I was thinking about this as I was reading her statement. I was thinking to myself, it's interesting because there have been a lot of allegations that have come out in the 2 years since this whole situation with Tati happened 2 years ago, which that's a whole other conversation, right? Of, was Tati telling the truth? Was she lying? Why did she become, say that they've worked things out? Was Shane and Jeffrey right? All this kind of stuff. There's all of these conversations going on, right? But I think that we can only do with what we're given, and this is what we're given right now, is the statement. I think it's interesting. There's been a lot of allegations that have happened in the last 2 years that James Charles has not come out and taken any accountability for because maybe there was no truth to it, or that he didn't feel that he needed to, or they didn't get as much exposure as these have. So, it's interesting because we're talking about two that he said in the video that there were two, situations that he needed to take accountability for. So I do think that it's important, The other thing is that when he came out and he made his video, when he talked about the timestamp, or when he timestamped the video and said what time it was, I said when I was talking about that video that the timestamp was important because the timestamp was, he was going to say, anything going further, I've already come out and addressed this. He kind of said that in his statement, so to some degree. He basically said, I've dealt with this, I've taken accountability, what more do you guys want me to say? It was interesting because there was a lot of people that were saying that they felt that the first paragraph of his statement was victim blaming, that it was basically saying to other people when he was talking about the legal issue. Now, I took the legal stuff as meaning to reporters, newspapers, magazines, drama channels, commentary channels, anybody else out there that's been talking about this stuff, that if you continue to do this, there's going to be problems, right? That's what I took that as. But then when people were saying, that they felt like he was victim blaming, basically, I'm just telling you what other people said that I saw on Twitter. People were, and then in the comment section of my video, people were saying that basically James was saying, don't come out with another story, okay? I don't know. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section below. The other thing that is interesting is that today, and I've been checking every single day, I have taken screenshots almost every single day. James Charles' videos do not appear to be monetized anymore on YouTube. So I don't know if YouTube has demonetized his videos, but I've literally taken screenshots of his videos every single day. Yes, I have too many receipts in my phone showing where he has had monetization up until today. I went through probably 30 videos and I couldn't find an ad on any of his videos. So it does appear that either A, YouTube has a glitch, or B, YouTube has done something with the monetization on his channel. Does it mean he's demonetized his channel? I don't know. I don't know what that means, but it doesn't seem, if people are finding ads in the video, please link it below, or please let me know below, and I will correct that, but I can't find any ads that are being run on his videos right now. So that is interesting. It seems like YouTube is taking a stance. It is interesting to me that YouTube did not make a stance until Morphe made a stance, right? And you know, I said in several of my videos that what I thought was going to happen was it was just going to take one thing, and then it was going to be this, you know, domino effect that we were going to see one thing happen and then another, right? Well, now Morphe and James Charles have, you know, come out and said collectively that they're no longer working together, of which is interesting because when you go over to Morphe on Instagram, Morphe is still getting slammed. Since all this went down, people are still coming underneath. They have this picture that they posted one day ago. The concealer, the Morphe color pencil tips. And if you go down here where you can see the comments that have been left since he made his statement, people are still commenting on it. Somebody said fire your PR team. Somebody said winding down, because that's what Morphe stated in their statement, is not enough. You should cut all ties with him. Somebody said wind down is not good enough. Cut all ties with James Charles immediately. Someone said, how do they still have 10 million followers? Someone said, we see what you're doing. Someone said, what do you mean by wind down? Someone said, I'm glad you're not going to restock him anymore, but you need to do what you did with every other content creator. His palette is clearly a big money maker for you, but people want to buy from a company they think has better morals. Somebody said, what do you mean by wind down? They keep on going on and on and on and ask, wind down is not good enough. Cut all ties. Okay, they go on and on and on. Someone said, y'all didn't even post it on here. So pathetic. LMAO. I hope y'all tank, is what somebody said to. So, you know, it appears that Morphe is still getting a lot of really I mean, I'm not even reading the worst, you guys. I mean, they are name calling Morphe out, okay? So Morphe is still getting a lot of really, you know, negative comments about it. Now, I have not looked on Anastasia of Beverly Hills. I'm wondering if they're going to cut ties next, because there's somebody that, no, they still follow James Charles. But they don't have a brand deal with him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I know that he has been very close with Anastasia of Beverly Hills in the past. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I put out speculations before that I thought that it was going to be one major YouTuber or one major celebrity that unfollowed James Charles, and then it would kind of be a, you know, a domino effect after that, and then we would see that happen with Morphe, and we would see that happen with other brands as well. It kind of surprises me that, honestly, that it started with Morphe. I don't really understand at this point why, unless there are conversations going on behind the scenes that, I don't know, that we're completely unaware of, that James is talking to all these influencers and saying his plan or what he's going to, I don't know, but it's interesting to me that at this point, we aren't seeing some major influencers fall off and stop supporting him. All of the people that I talked about in my video the other day, they are still following James Charles on Instagram. Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe they don't know that they're still following him. I don't know. But that's interesting to me. And that Morphe is the only one that has. And now, since Morphe has come out less than 24 hours after Morphe has cut ties with James Charles, that YouTube has allegedly demonetized his channel or taken ads down. I don't know. You know, maybe he went in and took the ads off his videos. Maybe James did that. I don't know. But it's interesting to me, you know, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next week ahead. I think this is where we're going to start seeing a lot of people step away and pull their support, and I think it's going to be in a mass amount when we see it happen. This statement to me, and I said it yesterday and I'll say it again, and some people said yes, I sensed an angry tone in it, and other people said no, I didn't hear it as angry at all, so I think maybe it's just your perception on how you read it, you know, and I could be completely wrong, but I did sense that first paragraph of his statement. It seemed a little angry to me, maybe a lot angry, I don't know. That he's, you know, losing brand deals as a response, in response to his, you know, taking accountability for his actions, which I think is interesting, you know. I think it's interesting when you live in a world where you're angry at somebody else for, you're needing to take accountability for your own action. That's confusing to me, you know, like I don't get that, right? But if people start really stepping away, I think this ego, this pride, this arrogance that we have seen, not just with James Charles, but with other people. I mean, it's like the meltdown moment of Shane Dawson when he was screaming at Tati Westbrook in the television or whatever, where he's like, she's lying, she's lying. You know, this is where anger and resentment comes out of, you know, this idea of this like ego and pride of like, I'm up here, you know. Well, the fall from grace is hard sometimes, I think. And, you know, I do hope that James Charles is surrounded by people that are, you know, that care about him. I would hope that for any individual out there, but I think that he needs to do a lot of soul searching. I think it was interesting because somebody quoted me on Twitter today, and I didn't even know that I had said this. I must have said this in a Peterisms video. Hold on a second. But somebody quoted me. Let me get this. I just retweeted it because it was really nice that they put it up. She said that I said, slowly we grow, and we have to be considerate of our souls with that. And I think that that's true, you know. I think that we don't grow overnight. And James said that in his statement, you know. And he said, you know, over time I'll show you that I'm a changed person. This statement to me was not an example of I'm a changed person. This statement to me was, I got to put out the statement. I'm not happy about it. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be suing a bunch of people, okay? It didn't seem to me like a good follow-up to my taking accountability video, which then makes me question the authenticity of that first video. Just saying, that's just my perception of it, just my opinion of what I see going on. I think James Charles would be very, very smart not to put out any other statements right now. And in all honesty, I think James Charles would be best in finding, you know, a really, really good therapist, counselor to work with for a while. Maybe not interact with the makeup industry at all, and except for tying up his business ends that he has to. Taking 6 months to a year off. I'm sure the man has more money than he needs to be dealing with all of this. You know, that he could just step away for a while and really, really work on himself and do some like, you know, deep evaluation of what's going on here and realizing this isn't just because of desperation. This is a lot bigger than that. And, you know, and hopefully that he can come back, you know, and be a changed person for himself, not for, you know, not for his makeup career, not for the numbers, not for YouTube, but for himself, you know, and also for the other people out there that are affected by this. So, you know, I don't know. This whole situation just it's so sad to me, and it continues to just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And honestly, in this situation, this is where I really kind of do feel like arrogance and pride came out. Morphe could have made this statement, and they could have said, at this time, James Charles and Morphe has decided to no longer work together. They could have put this statement out. Everybody in the world would have picked it up and talked about it. James didn't need to put that out there, right? And I think that was where James was like, I'm going to put out a statement too, you know? And I don't know that I think that that was maybe the wisest choice. And I think that this is where you got to step back sometimes and just like, if you're really stepping away from social media, step away from social media, you know? And just be gone for a while and focus on yourself. So, like, I mean, I'm focused on myself except for when I'm posting statements on Twitter about the deals that I've been doing with Morphe behind the scenes and all the phone calls and business meetings we've had. So are you working on yourself or are you working on the business deals? It's confusing to people. And I think this is where they're like, no, this isn't matching up. So what you're saying in the video isn't true because this doesn't match up. And people are looking at this stuff very, very closely. And, you know, and I think people are speculatively maybe disagreeing with the fans and the stance of James Charles. And, you know, so let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.